and welcome back to Pass and Move. And for today's episode, as promised in the Lively Liverpool series, we do have two cup finals. The English FA Cup final, as it says here, against Manchester City, and we've also got the Champions League final against our fierce rivals Manchester United. So we can very much end the season in second place with 2 trophies in our bag. We can also end it in second place with no trophies in our bag, so fine margins where the top players are really going to prove themselves. But anyways, of course, the league table, 79 points, we're in second, ahead of Manchester United by 3 points, ahead of Arsenal by 9, and I think it's safe to say we've done pretty decently compared to the season Chelsea have had, kind of just blowing away everyone out of the water. 102 points is very difficult to top, so credit to them. Would have been nice to have been closer to them, but our inconsistencies cost us with 7 draws and 7 losses. Teams to go down are Huddersfield, Reading and Leeds, and that's kind of it. I mean, you can always pause the screen and have a look at other ones, but that's not the focus of today's episode. In terms of what happened since the last episode, there only was 2 Premier League games. Chelsea, a 6-3 loss. We went to Stamford Bridge, and unfortunately for ourselves, Hazard scored a brace, Morata with another brace, and Zouma and Belotti punished us too. Got Salah has his own brace too, with Divock Origi scoring. It was one of those games where it was just end to end, can't really do anything about it tactically, and you just have to hope that your players are more efficient than opposition. In terms of Manchester United, it was a game that we didn't deserve to win at all, but we managed to win anyway, so that was good to see. Rashford scoring within 1 minute really set us up poorly for the rest of the match, but Lacazette managed to help us go 2-1 up before half time, and thankfully we held on for the rest of the results. The stats didn't read too well in our favour, Manchester United dominating, but you know, we won in the end of the day, and that helped us win the second place spot in the Premier League. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and get into the FA Cup final. We've got Lafont in goal, of course, because he is our cup competition goalkeeper. I would love to have actually put in Timo Horn, who is supposed to be better, in the keeper position, but I think I just have to go ahead and trust Lafont because we've kept him all this time as well, and hopefully these games can help him in his development. Rated as 21, valued rather at 21 million. My coaches think that he's a good player for most Premier League sides already at the age of 20, and so he can still improve a little bit. Hopefully he can fulfill his potential. He's considered a wonder kid, but I would argue that's a bit hopeful, I suppose. But yeah, if he continues his potential, that'd be great, and he can become a leading player for most Premier League sides, if not a star one. But yeah, I think we can go ahead and just kick off, and then talk more about why and who's starting and all that sort of business. I'm sure you've noticed some names there already. So Manchester City playing with a 4-2-3-1 version of their own. We've got Coutinho in there, who's definitely going to be looking for revenge. Cup competition though, everything's on the line, and we've got a nice little front four here made up of Lacazette, Mane, Salah and Fornals. So basically our best choice front four other than Fornals is actually supposed to be Lallana, but Lallana's also underperforming, and so we're going to give Pablo here a chance to impress. Gotten himself 9 goals and 3 assists, not the best stats this season. Hopefully next season, when he's more accustomed to the tactic as well as the team, he'll be a better player for ourselves. Got Jorginho and Henderson in the central midfield. Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold are fullbacks. We've got Wallace and Barter in the central defence, and Lafont in goal too. We're going to have to keep an eye out on Silva, of course, Coutinho, like we mentioned, Sterling being a key player. Mertens is a very dangerous player in FM18 this year, and so we'll have to be careful when we face him. Gundogan and De Bruyne in central midfield. De Bruyne actually playing more defensively, so maybe we can try and expose that. Walker and Mendy, of course, in the forward positions, and Stones and company are, accompanied by Edison. Playing in Wembley, and you really can't ask for more when it comes to it. So apparently, according to Team Talk, we are underdogs, so we need to try and go for an inspiring Team Talk that doesn't necessarily hand City the win already. If you ask me, I think we can definitely win today, but we just have to not be our usual inconsistent selves and try and do something here. So I've gone with the critics or pundits Team Talk, whatever, that normally works, and if we can try and motivate our players, that would be great. So they're ready to walk through walls, and I don't think you can do a better team talk than that, so we have to hope that's enough to try and spur the players on to win the FA Cup. So we get things kicked off. We do have a good enough side to beat Manchester City. The question is, are our players going to stand up to the occasion? If you had a quick look there at City, you would have seen that a lot of their players are tired, so that works to our advantage, and maybe the result will be decided towards the end of the game, where we can take advantage of some tired Manchester City players. Mane loses the ball out and Stones can come and collect. We can put pressure on him, I reckon we can win it back, but instead he lobs it forward to Sterling, and now we have to be wary of the pacey Englishman. Jorginho though drops back really well as a box-to-box midfielder and wins the ball and sets up, well, you know, Salah's got it now, so that's all that really matters, and he tries to take his man on, again tackled really well, but Trent Alexander-Arnold pick up the pieces and try and deliver into the box. He does so, Lacazette's free, and that's the chance that we needed and the chance that he took, and we go 1-0 up within 3 minutes time, and I don't think we can ask for more than that. But yeah, Salah doing really well in the advanced playmaker role. Guess it was just one hell of a tackle from Company, but thankfully Trent's alive to it. Picks up the pieces, doesn't really have to beat Company, just has to put a good ball in, and that's exactly what he does. And Lacazette, a poacher's goal really, goes by himself for some weird reason to a corner flag to celebrate. But either way, 1-0 up, and we're going to need to try and add to that. Looks like we're dominating the early stages, but won't matter unless we add more to the scoreline. And Mane is going to be trying to do that for us. Cuts inside to find our advanced playmaker Salah. Himself cuts inside also to go back to Jorginho. And I think we're just taking our time with our passes, which is good to see. Trent Alexander-Arnold's free, so he just has to deliver again. Can he get a second assist? Mane at the far post. Directly at Ederson. And Mane making Ederson look better than he is there. Sterling on the ball for his team though. Sort of just allowed to run past everyone. He finds Coutinho free. And, well, if ever there was a time to say thank God we sold them, maybe this was the time, just based on that one shot there. But the defending was horrendous, and they just let Sterling, I think there were two players there who just let Sterling walk right past them. Anyways, Lafont with the goal kick. Up to Lacazette, who can't win it, of course, against Company. Coutinho on the ball, trying to cause damage against his former team. We're going to have to keep him on the ropes. Goes on a long mazy run and tries another shot. This one's a little bit better, to be fair to him. But thankfully, it's another one that ends without a goal. I'm going to have to tell my players to concentrate already by the looks of things. Just slowly letting Manchester City into the game, which I don't like seeing. The stats are evening out now. It looks like the early stages of our domination have already gone. And so we have to try and be careful here with how we play. If you can take advantage of Walker, so we got Mane on the Mane is the one who's going to be on Walker's case. I think our midfield's fitter as well, so you could argue we should be running rings against De Bruyne and Gundogan. But I'm really thinking Mane should be taking advantage of Walker more than he has already, because so far not too convincing from him. Then again, you could say the same about every other player other than Trent and Lacazette, who of course connected for that first goal. So it looks like we'll just head into half-time with just a 1-0 lead. Considering we're underdogs for the game, it's nice to see us lead at half-time. But we're going to need more if we want to win the game. Alright, so we head into half-time with Manchester City having more shots than ourselves. But if we can keep them from not really converting, then that will be okay. The question is, do we go for the... No one's complacent, so I don't think I have to go for the complacency one. I could opt for the motivational team talk, but I feel like maybe we should go with the... I had a decent game, but carry on. Nope, apparently that's not even on the cards. So let's go with the passionate team talk. And let's try and go with the trophy on the line. Go out there and show everyone your winners. And that seems to have done the job. Alright, then... Okay, and City, of course, getting us going this time. hoping we can get both the Champions League and the FA Cup, of course. But if we did get the FA Cup and lose in the Champions League final to Manchester United, end the season in second place, I think we would have done better than most people would have anticipated us doing. It would have been a decent season, but we haven't won the FA Cup yet, so we can't get ahead of ourselves. Salah having a poor game, unfortunately for us. Chamberlain's actually not even in the squad, not even the starting 11. And City have made some substitutions that have looked to have helped them. De Bruyne with the delivery, company's free, heads it down to Bernardo Silva. Trent deals with the threat really well, considering he was only a yellow card. Could have given away a penalty or even gotten himself a red. But he's only lobbed it forward to Walker, and City are being incredibly attacking by the looks of things, so we can hit them on the counter if we're smart. But instead, well, for a second there, it looked like they dealt with the threat well. Instead, we find ourselves with the ball, and Barter has to find a teammate, which he doesn't do, and instead City keep coming at us and we're not keeping the ball well at all. De Bruyne on the ball for his team, finds Bernardo Silva really well, takes his man on. He's going to try and deliver into the box unless we can stop him, and we can't, and Sané is there to convert, and that is fair play from City, who have upped their game since they conceded, and we need to stop their ever-growing threat, because at this rate they will win the game. Bit too easy for my liking. Bernardo Silva getting in behind two of our midfielders, which really shouldn't be happening. And then he's not closed down well enough, and Sané's left free by Wallace, but Wallace had his own man as well. It's just a mix, poor defending basically, but we're going to have to do better. So Salah's completely injured now, we're going to have to take him off. So I think I'll move Mane to the advanced playmaker role, see if he can do a job there. Bring on Kent, one of our top goal scorers in the side. I think we can also consider bringing on Lallana for Fornells, who hasn't impressed, and hope that we don't have to make any other substitutions unless it's to rest our players. But City's certainly growing into the game. I think I want to go with the work ball into the box team talk, because we've sort of not even work ball into the box actually. I think I want to retain possession a bit because we're being silly with the ball. Alright, and we want to make another substitution. Number 2, should it be Jorginho for Naby Keita, who's supposed to be the first choice box-to-box midfielder anyways. An opportunity for him to impress off the bench and try and win himself a place in the Champions League final squad. And Mane does well to find Trent again, but he's not going to deliver as good as he did earlier. And Sterling's going to try and get his team on the counter. So it's Keita to Mane, tackled incredibly well. And Bernardo has taken out, who's this? Trent, I think it was. But either way, Lacazette with the penalty. We desperately need a goal, considering how things have gone since we last scored. Lacazette. Edison saves really well, to be fair, but Lacazette needs to do better from 6 yards out. Could have gone closer to the posts, but he's sort of not directly down the middle, but you know, you would expect better from a striker. Highlight hasn't ended though. Mane to Lacazette, goes back out wide to Kent. Decent cross to the far post. Mane is free, but that's the weirdest. It feels like it just hit his chest and fell out, so not good to see. Right, 10 minutes left. City are more tired and it looks like it could possibly go into extra time. And I'm gonna be okay. I was going to be a bit silly and go into overload, but I might be forced into doing so. Having said that, we've won the ball back and Keita can find Lallana, who stupidly gives it away to Silva, and Sané can find Sterling free in the box. Lafont comes out well for it and we manage to live again, but these are the fine margins where if we don't convert, City can convert themselves, and there you go. Mane could have killed the game for us, and Lacazette as well, of course, with the penalty. And I think overload might not necessarily be the answer, but I want to take the game to Manchester City since we've really seemed to have took our foot off the gas. Overload highlights come around right after that tactical tweak, so is it going to be in City's favour or ourselves? Barter heads it right at Silva and Henderson goes all the way back. Lafont has to be a bit smart with his pass, and he does so with Wallace, but he almost looked like he was going to lose the ball. And instead it's the ball playing defender, Barter, who loses it. And Bernardo is going to get his team on the way. Far post cross to Sterling. And it's right at the front. And I think that's enough of a sign to prove that we shouldn't be messing around. I think pass into space is the way to go. If City are closing us down, we can try and expose the spaces in behind them when they shut us down. Having said that, there's another highlight again in City's favour. Bernardo to Wallace. Central defender can't find anyone apparently, and Barter can try and get our team going. It's Lacazette on the ball. What can he do? Finds Kent in space. But he's going to have to wait for the cavalry to arrive, and he goes to Mane, who can find Trent Alexander-Arnold free. Can he find a pass? Kent at the far post, but it's behind him, and Kent loses out to Stones, and he tries to get City on their way. Merton picks up the ball well, holds it up as well for Bernardo, but the playmaker loses out, and Kent is again free, just has to square it. Lacazette, and that's the chance that we were looking for. And I think we can go on to contain and take a breather. I do want to say play even safer, but I feel like that pass into space instructions really helped us, and City are definitely going to try and come onto us even more. Question is, will my defense hold up? Because so far, 4 clear-cut chances to Manchester City's name. We have to be thankful that they missed as many chances as ourselves. Look at that, just bounces off Bernardo's heel. Henderson, really good ball to Lallana. Finds Kent free. Just squares it beautifully to Lacazette. Despite being man-marked, gets ahead of his man. And again, a real poacher goal. And I'll mention just what type of tactics I'm considering moving towards next season to try and get even more out of Lacazette. Despite him being our top goal scorer, I feel like we can get even more out of him and try and build a tactic that will suit him a bit more. We're sticking to the same formation, but I feel like there's some little tweaks I can make that will hopefully help the tactics. Sane's sort of just given that away and gone to the floor, so if we lob it forward, I'm pretty sure we've won the FA Cup. Having said that, Mane's playing dangerously, well, more like stupidly, but either way. Lacazette on the ball for ourselves. Finds Lallana really well. Who has a decent shot, but it doesn't matter because it should all be over now, to be honest. It's been 1 minute and 20 seconds over time. Ooh, Lacazette free. Can he wrap the game up? Ooh, that's... You know what? As good as Lafont's been for us today, Edison's been quite good for his team as well. And it's obviously our own poor finishing, but it's also a testament to Edison that we've had 5 clear-cut chances and we've only managed to score 2. Lacazette from outside of the box. It's all over now. So we have won the FA Cup, but the bigger one is on the horizon. We can't spend too much time celebrating. Of course, we're going to get nice little confetti and the weird presentation of the trophy. Who's that? With the trophy, some weird players there. Either way. Alright, so underdogs still managed to win. That's as good as a result as you could ask for. And some top performances from some of our players, particularly Trent, who's had an incredible game. And you have to wonder whether Klein has a space in our side at all, given how well Trent has become our first choice fullback. I think if we had the same strength from our opposite flank in Robertson, we'd definitely be very threatening, considering a lot of our strength comes from the complete wing-back positions. But anyways, another trophy to fight for. We won the FA Cup. It's good to see, of course. But we do have to move on quickly, because in a week's time, we face our fierce rivals in the hopes of an even bigger trophy. So, Trent's in form, Salah's in form, and Lacazette's in form. We've got Barto, Wallace, and Robertson not particularly performing. Henderson, Jorginho, Pablo. Henderson, Jorginho, Pablo. And finally, Mane. None of these players have performed, and so they're going to be dropped. Not in form and not performing. Hopefully, these players who come in now can prove their worth in the Champions League final. Henderson for Chan, who you'd argue is a better anchor man. I think Henderson's performances have started to drop off since we've changed him from a ball-winning midfielder to an anchor man. I think he was doing incredibly well as a ball-winning midfielder, and I would argue that he would do really well as a box-to-box midfielder, but unfortunately no space for him in our midfield. So anyways, Kent on this time, and hopefully he can have an impact from the start of the game. Salah's ankle's twisted and Chamberlain's out as well, so we're going to have to hope that one of them come within a week's time. Fans are happy, so that's good to see. Board are pleased as well, and Trent gets his due praise. Alright then. Okay, so I think instead of going through each single day, I'll just be back in a moment's time, ready for the Champions League final. So give me a moment. And welcome back. So the Champions League final, of course. Last time we faced Manchester United, I think you can see it here, away from home, we managed to beat them 2-1. This is of course a different stadium entirely, neutral ground. If we can beat them, that would be really well. So we won the last time, and I think this previous meeting here means we lost the time before that, and we drew the very first time. And I think that was the start of the season, which was let me see if we can have a look at past meetings now actually. Yeah, so that's how it reads. So we're gonna have to be very careful against the manager who's proven himself to be quite decent. Of course, this fair enough, the points total is the same for ourselves, but no such thing in finals, and of course the stakes are different, so we will have to step it up for today. So this is the side we're going with, like we showed you before. Salah's off injured, so we've got Chamberlain on instead, and we're gonna have to hope to see some top performances today from these players who will be keen to prove themselves after being left out of the FA Cup final. Now, of course, between the two matches, since we won the FA Cup, a bunch of players have come forward asking for new contracts. I've pretty much shut them all down. But I think obviously some players, especially Kent, I feel so bad for the guy. He's on 6k per week. He's earned an international cap. He's scored 22 goals and 18 assists in 53 starts. He's very deserving of a new contract. 6k is a steal, and the only reason he's on that money is because he's, of course, a youngster from the club's academy, and so we weren't paying him too much. But if you were to buy him, you would think you'd be paying him at least 80k, and so I'm definitely considering giving him a contract. Of course, I feel it's a bit unfair. He's got 3 years left though, so that's kind of why I've avoided giving him a new contract until he complains. So I think I'll continue doing that, and the moment he complains I'll just give him a new one, and that way we're not spending too much money. But anyways, that's a different issue entirely. We're going to try and get going against a difficult Manchester United side. We're going to have to be alive to things if we want to prove our worth. They've obviously got the likes of Diabala and Martial, Mkhitaryan, Mata, Dyer as well. This is a very strong lineup. Pogba, Bailly, Stefan, Gaia, Lindelof and De Gea. And if you ask me where we can possibly expose them, it would be in Lindelof. He's not a right back that goes that's expected to go forward at least. He's a centre-back playing in the right-back position rather, and I think despite his obvious abilities as a defender, I think we could still exploit him a bit more than they would possibly be able to expose us. But either way, we're going to have to be very much alive to things. Our tactical tweak in the last match helped us. The pass into space instruction very much took apart Manchester City, who were pressing us a lot. And so we took advantage by passing the ball into space behind them. Manchester United very much have the talents of Lukaku on the bench, Herrera, Jones, Matic, Luan and Mario as well, and Henderson on the bench there too. For ourselves, we can definitely have an impact off the bench as well with Klein, Jorginho, Mane, and of course Origi if needed. But we've got our own starting 11 that should be able to compete with Manchester United. This is the Champions League final in Spain. And we're going to need one hell of a team talk again to get ourselves going. So we're not favourites, and we're not underdogs this time around either. I think the team talk we have to go for is that the fans have been fantastic for us. There you go, that seems to have worked a fair amount. We've gotten further than anyone expected us in the Champions League. If we can win it, it'd be one hell of a way to end the season. But Manchester United will be thinking the same thing themselves. Can we finish the season with 2 trophies in the bag and one of Europe's the top competition in the bag? Alright, so Chamberlain and Trent connecting well in the early stages. If he can deliver the first time, very much a similar situation as the game against Manchester City, but De Gea is alive to it more than Manchester City were. Dybala picking up a bit of a knock early already. United's side are much more fitter than Manchester City's were, but if we can get Dybala out of the side already early on, that would be nice to see. Neither team having any shots. Finally, we've done that ourselves, so maybe we can score from this corner. Kent with the delivery, easily dealt with by Dyer. And Manchester United are going to counter well here. Mata's holding up the ball for his team. Can we shut down the Spaniard? Oh, he gets past Emre Can really easily as an anchor man. That's not good at all. Almost scored an own goal. That's one hell of a save by Lafont. And his defenders have to be absolutely happy that he was alive to that, because we almost scored an own goal, a very embarrassing own goal. That would have helped Manchester United on their way. No real highlights though. It seemed like we were dominating a little bit in the beginning, but can't really tell. Manchester United stats are just growing and growing and growing. And I get the feeling that maybe, just like City, we'll have to pass into space if we're going to have any hopes of taking apart this Manchester United side. Anyways, we're on the ball this time, and Trent finds Lallana free. The Englishman squares it to Keita. Doesn't go for the long-range shot. Instead, it's found Kent in an incredible position. The first clear-cut chance of the game. And Kent has squandered it. We could have gone into half-time with a 1-0 lead. And instead, it's 0-0, and Lukaku has replaced Dybala. So Lukaku's going to be wanting to prove his worth after being left out of the side. Not too many great performers. Feel like maybe I should tell my players off, but it wasn't necessarily a poor game. We just have to try and motivate them some more. Let's try and go with the media team talk. That doesn't seem to have worked that well, but maybe this will. Right, that's improved. Ready to walk through walls. I'm considering going into attacking, but I feel like United would just hit us on the counter. They've done so a couple of times, but because of our control mentality, we've managed to keep them at bay. And we'll save going into attacking for a bit later on. Alright, let's see what happens here. Looks like we're going to have to go into attacking either way. Pogba on the ball for Manchester United, finds Mata really well, who goes out to Gaia. We need to stop the delivery, and 2 players go out to meet him, and Pogba. One hell of a ball to Lukaku, and he heads it over. We're going to have to be doing a bit better there. Let's go into attack and see what we can do for ourselves here. Coming up to a time where we should maybe look to make some substitutions. I'm going to do that now. Kent underperforming, just take him right off for Mane. Lacazette, Lallana, Chamberlain, Keita and Can, no one really having the best of games, so we'll be a bit patient, but Kent's disappointed us and missed the game's only clear-cut chance. So, a highlight immediately after bringing Mane on, as well as going into attacking. So will this work for us? Chamberlain, the delivery. Mane is the one who scores, and I think he will remain onside, and there you go. That's one hell of an instant impact, and you can't ask for more from a substitute. I think Mane very upset that he missed out on starting today's final. He's gone out to prove himself. Chamberlain with a crazy good delivery. You'd argue that De Gea should be collecting this, but Mane is just too quick for him. So Lacazette's also underperforming. I think I'll take him off for Origi and hope that Origi, the Belgian, can do better. It's going to be a battle of the Belgian strikers when Origi comes onto the pitch. Maybe we can have a similar goal. Started off similarly. Keita goes out wide to Alex Telles instead. If he can take his man on the deliver from the byline, we might have a chance. Goes to the far post. Bailly clears, but it's just to Chamberlain. The Englishman goes back into the box. Lacazette to Lallana. Oh, that's inches wide, but we've had 3 clear-cut chances and just a single goal. Manchester United could very much still come into the game and we only have ourselves to blame. So Chamberlain struggling with match fitness. I think I'll move Lallana out wide to the advanced playmaker role. He should do well from there. Bring on Pablo. Not a substitution I anticipated, but fair enough. Chamberlain was tired coming into the game. Just coming back from injury. He's performed well, set up the goal, and it's time for him to rest and hope that his teammates can hold on. Kita with the delivery. Gomez near post. Oh, Matip was at the far post. Emre Can from distance. Nope, he keeps the ball instead. Probably does the wiser thing, but maybe he could have gone into the box, and that's what Telles tries to do. With Mane instead, United are going to counter Mkhitaryan. Need to stop him before he finds Lukaku free. Squares it to Pogba, who Pablo does really well to shut down. And Lallana, playing out wide now, takes his time with the ball, but I feel like a bit too long for my liking. Eventually finds Alex. Left back goes back to the goal scorer Mane, and Naby is free to find Pablo. What can he do from the attacking midfield spot? Oh, it's just cleared forwards. Lukaku's got it, and that's all it takes for Manchester United. Beating his man, squares it to Martial. He's missed before, but he doesn't miss this time, and United are perhaps undeservedly in the game. And we only have ourselves to blame, scoring from a not even a clear-cut chance. One hell of a clearance from Stefan De Vrij, who you'd argue didn't mean that. But he's just beaten Matip there, or Gomez rather. That's disappointing that was Gomez. Really easily. And Marcel scores from a crazy angle, as well as no one necessarily shutting him down. Losing rather his man Trent. So there's another highlight right after that. The question is, are we the ones to score? Will be United adding to the goal they just did score? We went on attacking, bear in mind, so we're very much exposed at the moment, with United enjoying the counter-attack, and they look dangerous again, you have to say. Pogba, time to deliver the pass. Instead he goes by himself and finds Lukaku free eventually, through to Martial again. Back post for Mkhitaryan, and United have punished us twice with no clear-cut chances, and it looks like we may lose to our fierce rivals after having a very, very dominant game. I think we do have to be a bit smart about this and go back onto control, but you have to wonder what kind of impact can we have, having not really done much since going into control. We're being hassled back to our defense. I feel like working the ball into the box is probably the instruction to go for. We're doing that right now with Trent, but it's a poor delivery, and United are going to get going again, and it's Route 1 football once more. But why would you play anything else when you can cause damage like this? Lukaku forced to hold up the ball, and goes out wide to Luan. But United are not letting up here, and we might find ourselves 3-1 down, having led for a chunk of the game. Martial trying to cause damage again, down to Lafont. Seems like a bit of a pointless highlight, but let's try and be a bit patient, work the ball into the box and retain possession. We might be keeping the ball a bit too much for my liking though, so maybe retain possession is not the one to go for. Let's try work the ball into the box. Pogba's injured for them as well. Let's look to make one more substitution. Take off Lacazette for Origi. No? Nothing? Oh, great. Okay, let's just go into overload. We're going to be so exposed to Manchester United right now. I know they're going to score a third, but we don't have a choice with the clock ticking down. Come on, send this into extra time, boys. And this is the difference between efficient finishing and poor finishing. We only have ourselves to blame for losing the Champions League to Manchester United. Time not up though. Well, time is up, I guess. 45 seconds, but you get the feeling that the game's just trying to tease us. Gaia easily goes to Martial, who finds Mkhitaryan, I think was one of the goal scorers. They're just messing about with us now. Matip though picks up the pieces well and tries to just lob it forward straight to Origi. Not good enough, but Pablo can pick up the pieces and spread it wide to Mane. He tries to find Origi through, but he's going to have to do better than that. And Dyer can head down. Oh, Origi was almost through there. But yeah, Manchester United don't really need to do much here. And Lukaku holds the ball well to find Martial freeze. There you go. Good tackle, but time is up, you'd say. And that's it. There you go. Manchester United winning the Champions League. And as good as it was to win the FA Cup, you'd argue this is the one that we should have won. Alright, so don't need this to be rubbed in my face. I think this is a very fair reaction considering how we could have killed the game at several instances. We're going to have to do much, much better. So, of course, the episode has been quite long with the 2 finals. I'm not really a fan of back-to-back matches in one episode because of how long they take. I don't like long episodes. But either way, just have to do a quick season recap, but we'll do that in just a second. Instead, I just want to show you the tactical tweak I'll be making. Don't consider the overload. We're going to be staying on control for most of the overloads just for the last few moments. The main tweaks are in the roles, so very much we're staying with the same back four, same goalkeeper, same midfield. It's the front four that tweaks a bit. We've changed from an inside forward to Rodementor instead, so that they can focus on scoring more often than an inside forward. There's the added advantage of passing shorter, crossing less often, sitting narrower, all that sort of business. That helps with our short passing, pass and move football that we're trying to aim for. It should also help Alex run further and overlap Kent more often than he does as an inside forward. We've got Lallana as an enganche instead of an attacking midfielder. I feel like that would be a bit of a better role. There's the more risky passing, which is what suits our side a bit more than an attacking midfielder. I also think, we've got a playmaker, we've got goal scorers. We just need someone to sit in that hole, and just be the pivot to everyone else. And that's exactly what the enganche role does. Just collect the ball, spray it out wide, or spread it forward to your advanced forward, which is the role that we're making to the tweak that we're doing for the striker role, which will hopefully bring out the best out of Lacazette. Whose most comfortable role is a complete forward, but I feel like as an advanced forward he'll cause a lot of damage. Scores most of, if not all, his goals for Liverpool have been poacher goals, and so I think we don't want just a poacher, because we want someone who can help with the when we're creating the play. And so an advanced forward does that more than a poacher would, and we've given him the freedom of roaming from his position. And if he moves into channels as well, we should have plenty of players who can cause some serious damage. So, Kent as well in terms of the Rodementor role. I know it looks like he's a bit uncomfortable with it, but I feel like his attributes are very much within... we just want to give him a bit more freedom to focus just on goal scoring, since he's proven to be so capable at it. And of course, Mane should be able to do that role as well. In terms of the season, not preview, overview I suppose, summary, appearances, most have been made by Kent and Robertson, which is why Alex has complained about his game time and has asked to leave. There's only 2 unhappy players at the club at the moment. Keita asking for a new contract that he doesn't deserve, and Alex unhappy with his match time, which is very fair, but also I'm not unhappy to lose him considering our weakness, which I'll just discuss in a second. But yeah, most of the performers are here. Horn, as expected, is a goalkeeper, of course. Gomez, Wallace getting a huge chunk of game time. Lallana as well. We need to see more from our attacking midfield players than we have seen this season, so hopefully that will improve. But in terms of goals, Lacazette and Kent. Kent was unexpected, but Lacazette's our striker, so it's good to see him lead the line really well. We've got Salah, Origi and Lallana all getting a decent amount of goals as well, but everyone else has kind of let us down. Mane in particular, considering the numbers he got last season. Assists go to the playmaker Salah. We got Kent as well as an inside forward playing some really nice through balls. Chamberlain as a backup advanced playmaker has done really well too. Average ratings, we've got some pretty much most of our squad on 7 and above. So really the underperformers have been Origi, Alex, Barta, Timo Horn, Pablo Fornells and Lafont. Now this third season that we're going to have, the upcoming third season, I'm expecting to be the last season, and so I'm going to be absolutely ruthless in the transfer market. And just to give you an idea, of what I'm considering. So in goal, we've got pretty much the goalkeeping position locked down. We've got Horn as the first choice leading goalkeeper, so we don't need to do anything with that. Lafont's the backup, so the goalkeeping department is sorted. In terms of right back, we've got Klein and Trent. I would have kept Klein normally, but Wolfgang, our new assistant manager, has already, in the beginning I gave him a benefit of doubt, saying that he's still becoming accustomed to the job. He initially rated Klein as leading player for most Premier League sides, but he's only considered a good player for most Premier League sides now, and so I'm going to be looking to move him on and bring in a backup youngster potential to compete with Trent, who himself is a backup youngster potential. So now he's going to be a first choice leading player without a doubt. He's 4-star rated. If you ask me, he's probably even a star player of the division, and so I think we can have a better backup than Klein, sell him for decent money, and probably maybe try and use that money elsewhere. Wallace and Gomez are still our first choice central defenders. Wallace is considered a good player for most Premier League sides according to Wolfgang, but I feel like he's getting this a hint wrong as well. He should be a leading, if not, he has the potential to be anyways. But either way, Gomez is a leading player for most Premier League sides. We've got the backups, Sparta and Matip, both letting us down in central defence, only considered good players for most Premier League sides, so maybe we can even consider, instead of Wallace, bringing in a top centre-back to partner Gomez and have Wallace and someone else as a backup youngsters with potential, and just get rid of Barta and Matip, who've both disappointed us. Left-back is the key area that we need to improve in. Both Alex and Andrew Robertson are both just good players for most Premier League sides. Complete wing-backs on attack are a huge part of our tactical system, and so we need improvement in that. We don't have an actual outstanding left back, and so that would be the first place that I will look to improve in, and of course getting rid of the unhappy Telles. Alex, we've got in central midfields kind of sorted in terms of the quality. The problem is actually the players are playing in some unnatural positions or unnatural roles, roles that are not completely bringing out the best out of them, but it is the system that works best for the team. So Jorginho's actually an advanced playmaker, we're playing him as a box-to-box midfielder. Henderson, who's actually a box-to-box midfielder, we're playing him as an anchor man. Keita, who's a roaming playmaker, you could argue is a box-to-box midfielder. He should be performing better, but hopefully he can do that next season when he's more accustomed to us. Emre Can as an anchor man isn't his best role, but he should be able to do it for us as well. But at least the central midfield isn't an area that needs improvement. Kent's a very capable backup youngster potential to Mane. Where's Mane gone? So he's a leading player, so that department's sorted as well. The right wing though might need some help. Wolfgang's changed his mind again with Chamberlain now considered the leading player for most Premier League sides. But yeah, so that department sorted as well, which Salah and Chamberlain playing there. Attacking midfield though might need some help. Lallana's a good player for most Premier League sides. He's declined, and so we need to move on and find a top attacking midfielder. You'd argue this is a position that needs improvement as well, but Pablo is a leading player for most Premier League sides. Comfortable with the Enganche role, so maybe he can perform a bit better there next season. But we will need a backup youngster potential for the underperforming Lallana. In terms of strikers, we've got Lacazette, who's the first choice. The department's kind of sorted with Origi, a good player for most Premier League sides, potential to be leading. I think arguably he will do better this season as an advanced forward. If not, we've got the youngster Solanke, I think it was, who's on loan and should do really well as an advanced forward. This is his most comfortable role. He's supposed to be a youngster with potential who should be a top striker. But it all depends on how well he did at Crystal Palace, which looks like he didn't do too good of a job. Hasn't impressed them, I suppose. But either way, that's just sort of the overall season review. You can kind of tell, you can pause and have a look at the schedule yourselves, but as you can see, we've gone on nice little winning runs and then spells of inconsistencies which have cost us. But overall, a very decent second season in charge. We've won the FA Cup, managed to get into second place, got into the Champions League final, beat the board's expectations in just about every competition, and I think we can be proud of ourselves this second season. But if the third season doesn't see us winning the Premier League, then that should be the end of this save. So that's going to be it for today's episode. If you did enjoy it, then of course please do hit the like button and subscribe for more Daily Football Manager 2018 content. And once again guys, as always, thank you all very much for watching.